Alright, Ulm turned 67, so we actually received some gold and air gems from This was a deal that we worked out with them for passage through one of our provinces for a couple of turns, this one down here. So I think Baratos has declared war on them. So yeah, this is just going to allow some of their forces to move to the front more quickly, and I'm fine staying on Ur's good side. Definitely would prefer him to be fighting Baratos rather than me. And this is a fair deal, I think, for this province. So yeah, that's what that's about. We finished our research in evocation, 5 for earthquake mostly, a few other useful spells, and then continuing the rest of our research plan as discussed. We're getting wolves, wyverns, specters, continuing our probing. We did find a painted cave here, which I think is just one astral pearl, but it's nice. It had misses otherwise. The scrying pool cast is new, so there's a couple of scrying spells in the game. I think this one is water, and it just allows you essentially to have a scout, as if you had a scout in a province. They have like a certain amount of range, a varying amount of range. You can't go like all the way across the map, especially on bigger maps. It might give you a little more information than scouts. We can double check that, but anyway, this is, I believe, on one of Macone's forts, because it is one way to see what's in a fort while you're sat on top of it. And then we had some regular site searching that missed, and then we had an assassination attempt. So Macone gets assassins, and here they come. So this is one of our Jade Sorceresses, who she was probably moving, I'm guessing. Not sure what happened, but yeah, she got caught out. And this, is looking like some solid kit here for this assassin. So I mean, normally they don't have too much, so you do kind of got to gear these Macone assassins. But yeah, so he's got a Pokemon item, they call them. So really any item that summons some extra soldiers is really useful in assassination attempts, because it's usually pretty quick. There's not a lot of units involved, and these guys will soak up attacks and spells. So anyway, yeah, anytime you can get your assassin a couple extra buddies, that's always a good call. And then this is just going to help him connect. The assassin patience -1 is somewhat relevant here. This just means that it's more likely that bodyguards are going to show up, if there are any bodyguards assigned. I don't think she had any bodyguards. So when you have bodyguards assigned, it's not a guarantee that they're going to show up during an assassination attempt. And the more bodyguards you have, it's a max of 5, but the more bodyguards you have, the more likely that some will show up. So if you only have 1 or 2 bodyguards, there's a decent chance that just nobody's going to show. So having 5 can be really nice, if you're expecting assassins. But anyway, this assassin patience -1 just means it's more likely that bodyguards are going to, show up. So actually, usually not relevant, for the units that you're putting it on, but in this case, definitely relevant. But, I guess he felt it was worth it. Certainly in this case, she didn't have any bodyguards, so didn't matter. A little bit of armor, I don't know why he went particularly with the cold resistance. Maybe he just got it for free. Morale +4 is very nice, because one of the most common ways, I feel like, at least from what I've seen so far in assassinations, is a morale failure on either side. And if you fail your morale check, if you rout out of an assassination attempt on either side, that's it, you're dead. So definitely getting your assassins some additional morale is very nice. And, cold resistance actually kind of relevant here. Maybe he saw some of my Frozen Heart spamming and was figuring I might have to go up against a Jade Sorceress. So yeah, maybe actually tailored to go specifically after some of the casters that I've seen. And then, Great Sword, this doesn't need any introduction. So yeah, solid choice. So this is not looking great, because she's got nothing. She's got her snake staff. So she's gonna cast Liquid Body, and he's just gonna rush her. I think it's at night, Yeah, which is actually probably to our benefit. So, like, a certain, I don't know what percentage, some assassination attempts occur at night. So, which is probably good because, I mean, he wants to melee us. So, I don't think, right? Like, yeah. So, but I mean, it's canceled out. So, skills are still solid. But, the darkness is driving it down a little bit. Not that, like, our defense is, it's pretty mediocre. So liquid body, not the worst choice, but yeah. Doesn't really matter so much against like a great sort of sharpness wielded by a giant. So yeah, there goes our Jade Sorceress, and assassins are something we now need to, well, probably should have already been worrying about because I knew that Macone could get some assassins, but he hadn't brought them out yet. But they're out, and they're looking scary. So yeah, I mean, not the worst mage to lose, but always sucks to lose mages. Lost some guys in the march, and then we caught a battle in Lanka between and Lanka. So I think this is an assault. No, so just jumping on top of the capital here, and it does look like Lanka has brought some stuff out. Just kind of seems like the usual mix. I think. No, these. I think they're summons. Maybe recruitable sacreds. I'm not familiar with Lanka. Lone Storm Demon, who I think, he's gotten. I think this is the one that killed that golem, but he's gotten some other kills as well. And then I think this same thug. So really like more of the same from what we've seen before from Lanka. And then let's see what has brought in. So he's brought in an army this time. A lot of trolls, which is a little new. Trolls are okay, I guess. They have trouble connecting, but when they do connect, it's pretty good. Their protection is decent, and the regeneration is really nice. Decent amount of hit points, but yeah, I mean the lack of skills, really does hurt them. But yeah, not the worst troop, certainly. And then yeah, some of these summons, we've seen them. They've been fighting, but they're pretty good. And then just line of troops, and looks like a few earth mages and such. A water mage, maybe some water elementals. Certainly we've seen that. Some cubes, manticore, and some wyverns. Probably just going to be guarding his casters. Maybe like some howl or something. But yeah, like quite a bit of caster support, a lot of gems on a lot of these guys. So yeah, this guy's got a Horn of Valor for morale, so that's cool. Not sure, he just has like a Shade Lord. I don't even know how you get these. I certainly don't know what he's planning on doing with it. No protection, he's got ethereal, like decent skills. He likes it to be dark, but it's not dark. He can steal strength. He has a Rod of Death. Sounds dangerous. Yeah, I don't know. He's not a caster. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. But yeah, I don't know. Lanka's, I don't think he has, yeah. I know this. I believe this is what got hit by the golem last turn, and he definitely used up a bunch of blood slaves, like summoning imps and stuff. And it looks like either he's out or he didn't replenish. There's one blood slave here. So yeah, maybe it seems odd that this guy would be doing the casting. Blood slaves, yeah, they're a little weird because I mean, they're kind of like gems, but they're not actually in your inventory. They actually appear like in the battlefield, and any blood caster can use them as long as they're close enough. So this is probably a blood slave assigned to this caster, but he's far enough away that I think the rest of the casters won't be able to utilize it. And since this guy is like kitted out, I don't know, maybe he'll be buffing himself up. There are some buff spells in blood, so, and he has some air gems as well. So yeah, Lanka did bring out some gems. Interesting kit. So yeah, I don't know. I think Lanka's in trouble here, but we'll see. So it looks like there's gonna be some creeping doom, which is cool. That's like just enhanced swarm, if you will, even more bugs. Yeah, there's those water elementals. So a little bit of archer fire being traded. Our storm demon, throwing his lightning, and it's good. Wow, even more bugs. Yeah, there goes the howl. From a little bit of blade wind is going to be really good against these. Yeah, just erased some sacreds. It's kind of a problem with these sacreds. They just no protection. It's really a shame that Lanka hasn't been able to, solve that through spellcasting. They may just not get the paths. I'm not familiar enough with Lanka's mages. Just, yeah, a lot of bugs. And then, these water elementals are going to do a lot of work. Some banishment now coming down. We've seen that from before. They have so many priests. The trolls getting up, maybe doing some work. Really kind of just looking for targets. The Blade Wind has done a lot of work. Yeah, there's not much here anymore. We can turn on team colored squares just in case I'm missing something. But yeah, you can see, I mean, it's pretty much just a steamroll here from yeah, there isn't really too much left. And some more bugs, a couple flying bugs getting in. So I think they're just going to roll over whatever's left to even... What is this guy? What has he gotten up to? He's fatigued himself out. That blood slave is gone, although that could have been an arrow or who even knows. Hey, he's a prophet. Okay, so maybe he's been doing like prophet spell casting. Let's take a look. Because he got a lot of gear. So let's see. Air Shield, Holy Avenger, Mist Form, Skeletal Body, Sermon of Courage. And then he got, and then the wolves showed up. So yeah, I mean, Hal, you can see, like, look at the 51 points of damage. Like, this guy hits, yeah, you do not want to get hit with this Bane Blade. But, he's using it on wolves. And I mean, yeah, that's just like Hal is really effective at tying guys up. Certainly Lanka maybe should have anticipated Hal or could have anticipated Hal and, maybe not position this guy on the edge because, the wolves are going to be coming from all the edges, right? And, so you're back on both sides. So, for guys that you don't want to have them spend their time on wolves, you can try to like centrally position them, with just kind of, he had plenty of chaff, so maybe, some undead and stuff you don't really care about so much kind of on the edges, and it's going to spend its time fighting some wolves, but that's fine because, maybe then, your guy with a Bane Blade that's going to be doing 51 points of damage isn't going to be using it, on a wolf. But, I mean, it's tough. He was outnumbered here. Not sure about Sermon of Courage. That's kind of interesting. I feel like... Yeah, and then Leeching Touch, which is not a bad spell. Word of Thorns. So I think he was set to just, like, cast spells after his script, which is fine. Like, I mean, these guys are good casters. But it's sort of like, yeah, I just don't understand why have so much gear on a guy that's just going to be casting. Help keep him alive, I guess, but... Yeah, looks like he is going to escape, which is cool. Live to fight another day. But, yeah, I don't know. This didn't look good for Lanka. But, I mean, he's fighting a battle on his capital, so that's always rough. The war's probably not going well once you hit that point. So, yeah, did not lose anything. He did have to burn some gems to do that. Quite a few gems. Like Creeping Doom is one nature gem, and Howl, is a bunch of, like, 3 nature gems or whatever, depending on how much you put into it. So, I mean, yeah, a lot of gems got spent here, but absolutely no casualties. And, I mean, Lanka lost pretty much everything but that guy, who hopefully survived the retreat, because, yeah, he's the only one. So yeah, anyway, I don't think Lanka's gonna be around for too much longer, and is continuing to look scary. So yeah, let's see here. We have a battle with Vanheim against cleaning out some independents. Oh yeah, sorry, he's kind of on like neutrals duty, I think. Anytime there's a independent attack, he calls out this heavily kitted guy, which is cool. Like that's not a bad plan. Like especially if you're running some misfortune, you just have this guy. He's just your problem solver. This is kind of a scarier problem than normal. This is an ice druid. Don't see these too much, but I mean, yeah, he actually has some gems, and he's got some ice drakes with him, and it's looking pretty cold here. So I don't know, does this guy have... Yeah, no cold resistance. Not on the oh no, it's on the bless. So why has he not? Maybe he hasn't blessed himself yet. So let's see. So yeah, I got air shield. Hopefully, there's a cold bolt. It missed. That's good news, because, yeah, still no... Okay, yeah, so now he's blessed. Maybe I just missed it before. But anyway, okay, so he's got cold resistance. He should be fine. And he can fly. So that's good. Because, yeah, without cold resistance, this could actually be kind of scary. Although the flight, he just hops right to the back. I think the Ice Druid was the only leader. So, yeah, now these guys, are all routing. Going to be a lot less dangerous. Although, like, he will get in their way. But, yeah, it looks like the Drakes are definitely, the Slingers, whatever. Yeah, so looks like this worked out. Attack rear with flight, it works really well on independents and sometimes on players as well. So this is why you never want to bring only one commander. Really, ever, if you can avoid it, but especially not against guys that can fly. So yeah, bad move independence. And nicely done Vanheim. And then we had a battle here between Helheim and Marverni. So let's take a look here, and we have just a mummy, a mummy with some gearing, a little bit of gearing. So these, I think this is from a spell because this is a hero. So there's like I think it's Ritual of Returning. There's a spell you can cast to get your dead heroes back. They have to be your heroes, right? So a guy that made it into the Hall of Heroes, but died. And then you can bring them back, but they always come back as like a mummy. I think if they were like a giant, they come back as like a giant mummy, which might be a little better. But they have full slots, and I think they have, so this was a Van Jarl, I think, probably. So they still get, all their same paths and everything that they had in life, but it's just, now they're a mummy. And I think they keep more or less the same stats-ish, but not protection, it looks like. And, so, they're undead now, pluses and minuses with that. Mummies specifically have this plague carrier, so it's just, diseases get spread to anybody that's nearby. So kind of hard to use, with your other units. That your living ones that you care about, but then it also kind of sucks to kill a mummy, right, with units that you care about. So something to consider. And then they have a death curse as well. So whoever kills this mummy will be cursed for the rest of their life. So this guy is gonna go berserk, I think. Yep, and he's got the shocking shield. And he can bless himself because he's still a priest because he was a Van Jarl. So kind of scary and just up against like absolutely no PD. So I think he's gonna roll over this. I don't think these guys are gonna care about disease. No, actually they will. There they would. Oh, but he's gonna summon phantasmal warriors at them. Just a couple. And that's his shield doing work. Yeah. So anyway, kind of an interesting thug. I haven't really seen Ritual Returning used too much. So I'll be interested to see, how that guy continues to perform. And then, this was taking that province that we agreed on. We've seen those long dead horsemen before. Definitely very dangerous. This is just a couple of our Blackhawks that, got loose from a retreat. And, just a bit of PD there. And then let's see, I think, hold on. So Helheim and Niflheim, and this is in Niflheim. So I think this is an assault. So this is this is probably the biggest battle of the bunch. We have seen this from Helheim. I think we've seen all these elements. He brought pretty much everything. He's been using different pieces of this force depending on what he's up against, but this is the capital, so it's all here. And what does Niflheim have? He's got some stuff. He's got some Rimvetti. We know about them. They're okay. A few giant warriors, not too many. And he's got a scattering of his casters, and we've seen them before. They can be pretty effective. Some of them, get astral, so probably some body ethereal and etc. Not a lot of gems from what I'm seeing. Mostly just research boosters, which, this is capital, so there's probably no other mages to even put these on. No gems though, really, for anybody as far as I can see. Okay, got some death gems on this guy, and he's got what is this, two twin spears. yeah, kind of an interesting weapon. It gives him luck, which is nice, and he can call lesser horrors. I don't know. Would be interesting to see what he does. And I'm not sure what he's doing with the death gems. Maybe just he's only a death 2, so maybe just trying to do his normal script, but he needs the gems to help himself out. So yeah, and then this is probably... No, not his god. This is a hero for Niflheim. So I'm not actually super familiar. It looks like she gets some fire, which is pretty rare. For Niflheim, I don't think they get any fire normally, and it looks like she's got a fire booster, so it's getting her up to fire 2. No gems, sadly. Astral 3, like, yeah, this is a really powerful caster, and this is a really dangerous weapon. Yeah, life drain, and then also, yeah, boosting her blood magic, although no blood slaves. So yeah, I mean, a lot of casters, you know, a hero, some Jarls, I think. No, I don't think this is their other hero. But yeah, and then is this possibly... Oh, these look like some adventurers. Okay, and then here's his god. It's a master enchanter. So kind of a rainbow chassis, although it's been taken, you know, pretty heavy in earth and nature. But yeah, a very powerful caster. Still no gems. Yeah, maybe just doesn't have the right research, or, you know, doesn't have any gems available. So yeah, I mean, this is a lot of casters from Niflheim. So we'll see. But I mean, this is a tall order to stop. So somebody got popped by some boulders. That might have been like a thug possibly trying to go in early. I'm not sure why this guy is just a sacred. He's going in by himself. Like, he may have been a bodyguard, you know, and died, or rather was a bodyguard for that thug that died and went in. So yeah, so we've got some darkness, pretty normal. Let's see here, summoning some dead from Niflheim. Weapons of sharpness. I don't know if we've seen that before from Niflheim. So yeah, I mean, that's really effective. Maybe not so effective. I don't know. This quarterstaff does deal a lot of damage. I mean, these are giants. So yeah, they just cut through protection really effectively now. He doesn't, you know, yeah. It would be better if he had more troops. It would have been better if it had hit the Rimvetti too. It's kind of sad that, because I mean, you know, these guys are actually going to be swinging their weapons, whereas, like, you kind of don't want the casters, you know, swinging their quarterstaffs. They have better things to be doing. So yeah, it's just got unlucky with the targeting. Maybe you should have put it in the script, like, farther forward, you know, before the Rimvetti got loose. But yeah, that stuff is hard to control. And then, yeah, here comes the Elven Cavalry. Going for the walls this time. I mean, these hurlers really do hurt. So, and maybe less worried about Niflheim's casters. So let's see here. We got a Natural Storm from the Queen of Thunder. Maybe just to mess with projectiles. I'm not really seeing any, like, Thunder Strikes or Air Elementals, you know, or Wrathful Skies. So, not really sure why he's choosing, you know, for the storm. Because really, other than the boulders, like, not a lot of projectiles coming out from Niflheim. You know, they don't really use fire magic. So yeah, I'm not really sure. And it looks like not all of these sacreds. So I mean, yeah, that is one thing he's missing. He has a lot on his bless, but he does not have cold resistance on his bless. And I know he has been casting sometimes. Some cold resistance here and there on his troops. He definitely has some powerful water casters with those, yeah, these Sea Kings. But they are kind of set up to thug, so that, you know, he may not have wanted to fatigue him out, giving everybody cold resistance. But yeah, his sacreds are really suffering for that. You know, these Rimvetti have a cold aura. This is Niflheim's capital, so it's probably cold 3. Let's double check. Yep, cold 3. So yeah, and I mean, once these guys fatigue out, it's like, well, it's dark, sure, but I mean, you know, these guys are still going to connect, you know, because yeah, these guys are asleep. But you can see the walls have basically been cleared, so that's good, more or less. The Jarls are getting up. Looks like they made it through most of their normal script. Not sure about this guy. Didn't look like he did. I mean, he's super high water magic, but, you know, he didn't have any gems. yeah, not really sure what the play was there. But yeah, he's probably in trouble being surrounded now by, you know, all those sacreds. And then these guys, I think, are just set to advance and cast spells, which, yeah, I think, I'm not sure. There's like Leech, I think, which might be just Blood 1, which has been pretty effective against the Jarls. But it looks like they're mostly just focused on doing, what is this? Yeah, Holy Word, which, you know, yeah, with this high magic resistance, you know, it can stun sacreds, but probably not going to stun this guy. And then, yeah, doing some banishment on, like, the undead that's being summoned. It looks like these casters are mostly just doing, like, you know, undead summoning, which is not the worst thing. A lot of body ethereal back here, which will help somewhat. No thugs, really, it seems like, from Helheim this time, other than his Sea Kings, who are loose somewhere. And, of course, that lifelong protection, you know, continuing to stack up imps, of course. This guy is holding out a heck of a lot longer than I would have thought. I mean, you know, just the regeneration off the Bless, even without, like, the Soul Vortex and everything. Which, you know, doesn't matter as much, right? Because, you know, Helheim's Sacreds have much better magic resistance. But, yeah, they really are struggling. I think this guy, yeah, he got hit with Body Ethereal. So the Ethereal combined with the regeneration is really tough because these guys don't have magic weapons, right? So 75% of the time, you know, they're not connecting. So they're just not dealing enough damage to get through this regeneration. That said, like, I do think, especially because, like, yeah, there's a Sea King up here now, who also doesn't have... Oh, wait, yep. He is a little decently cold resistant. So he probably cast a spell on himself, and he's high enough in water. He might be getting a boost from that a little bit. So, but he still is having, like, a lot of fatigue issues. So I don't know. He might have quickened. Nope. He didn't quicken himself. And he has some reinvigoration. So, I mean, also, you know, I mean, he's just... This battle is taking a while, and that it's a pretty intense cold aura, so even with the cold resistance, he might be taking some fatigue damage from that. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of imps stacking up here, and then, you know, here's this other... Although this guy's fatigued out, and yeah, wow, he's cold resistant 15, so I'm not sure what happened. Let's take a quick look. I mean, maybe they just, you know, there's a lot of undead and stuff to cut through, so let's see. Oh, you know what? I wonder if they went berserk, because I believe berserking is pretty fatiguing. Let's see. Okay, so this is definitely... Yeah, like cold fatigue damage. So like these are the cold auras. Although you can see that, yeah. So even I think this is the guy with 7 probably, because he's over by the maybe not. One of them was by the Rimbetti at one point. Probably this guy, I'm guessing. But yeah, I mean, okay. So like that one, you know, that was a lucky roll, a really lucky roll. But, you know, barring a really lucky roll, it looks like he's pretty much immune. Although, honestly, even from that one, you know, getting... I mean, it's only 13 fatigue, so that's not the end of the world. So it doesn't fully explain why these guys are just completely fatigued out. So, yeah, not sure what happened there. Still, though, I mean, they will wake up. They have some reinvigoration. Now, I mean, if these guys can keep making, you know, undead faster than they can kill them, although with the imps continuing to pour in, it does seem like, although, yeah, this guy's still in the gap. I mean, not that it really matters since, you know, they've mostly already gotten through, but yeah, these guys did not get cold resistance, so like, yeah, they want out. They are not happy with this situation, but they're asleep. You know, they are freezing to death. Yeah, and we have a few routes back here, you know, from the back line who are able, you know, to get out. So this is starting to look not so great for Helheim here, although it does look like they finally managed to cut through like all the undead, and now, you know, the imps, of course, now the imps are gonna struggle. Not too... Oh yeah, no, they're totally fine. Just my mistake, because they're demons. So yeah, they don't care about darkness. So Yeah, like this one, you'd think she'd be dead already. Not sure why not, because she's not ethereal. So yeah, these imps are just struggling. They'll get there eventually. A little bit of poison coming out. It does look like that one Jarl finally went down. Probably the Sea King like woke up, and got like a critical hit, or like, a hit that is finally able to push it over the top. This guy though, because he's got his soul vortex up and he's got the regeneration. I think he's probably hasn't been seeing as many attacks as well. Also, he has this Hydra skin armor, so his regeneration is better, right? Because this gives him 10%, and he's got another 10% off the bless. So yeah, this guy's going to be a lot harder to take down than the other one. And he's got a little bit of shielding from some of these guys that have fatigued out and are freezing to death. Okay, so it does look like nope. The imps are still struggling, but the Sea King, he should, he's asleep right now, but he'll wake up and like, okay, there's a little bit of damage. Like, wow, these imps are just not, okay, against the ones that are ethereal, right? Because the imps just like their claws are not magic. But yeah, you'd think for, she just has furs, so like, okay, she has like a decent amount of health, but protection not that great. Defense has been harassed down completely. Like, come on, imps. Okay, there we go. Somebody got her. I don't know if it was the imp though. I think it might have been one of the Sea Kings. And then let's see. So this guy here, yeah, he's still holding on. His fatigue is not great, but he's got some shielding, right, from guys that have fallen asleep. Like, I don't think. Okay, these guys got hit with some cold resistance, so definitely like Helheim was casting like some cold resistant buffs, but didn't manage to get it on everybody. So it does look like the imps have finally, and probably more the Sea Kings, have worked their way through the casters here, and like, yeah, this is probably a route. Yeah, she's trying to get out. So yeah, so we're pretty much just looking at this guy, and we like, right, one Jarl who's trapped, that's dangerous. That is dangerous. We know that all too well. So this is mostly looking better for Helheim, but like, yeah, still a bit of a rough one. Even if he comes out on top here, and I don't think that's a foregone conclusion, because he needs stuff that is not imps to connect. So like, yeah, these Ether Warriors here definitely have a shot. Okay, so this one got mist formed, but and I think they're ethereal. Yeah, that's just built in. But he didn't get any cold resistance, so like this guy, yeah, is not, he's gonna fall asleep pretty soon. Let's see, do we probably, no, still trucking with the morale. All right. And yeah, like, the fatigue's starting to go down. He's probably draining these imps. The imps probably just providing more food really than anything else at this point, and really just kind of like cushion. Because Helheim needs like these Sea Kings, I think, to get up and connect, like realistically, like maybe his sacreds, but I think this guy, yep, also ethereal and lucky. Nice. And weapons of sharpness. Yes, this is one scary freaking Jarl, even aside from the fear, which he also has. So yeah, I think let's go ahead and speed this up a little, because I think he's just gonna slowly chop as he does, and probably we're gonna start seeing some more routes here from Helheim's commanders, just a steady stream of imps that have decided they've had enough, to heck with this lifelong protection, but lifelong protection just brings in, more imps, so that's fine, sort of, other than the fact that, there's just imps and more imps and nobody else can get through, and like, yeah, let's see, who's this guy? Yeah, he's just hell hurting and had his glamour popped. He did get some cold resistance, so that's good. But yeah, this is starting to look real bad here. Let's speed this up. This might turn timer. Because just they both have lifelong protections, so that's one on one Sea King. Okay, I'm never gonna be able to click. Let me pause. Yeah, so this is two lifelong protections at play here, and in this case, especially too, like the storm, kind of prevents the imps from flying, and maybe in this, I think there's so many imps at this point that if they had flying, they might just form a more perfect shield. So maybe it's good that there's a storm. Maybe that's what it's for. The storm, make sure that the imps like can't fly and like don't, you know, cause exactly the situation. I don't know. It definitely did not work out here, if that's the case. But yeah, I mean, he kind of needs these Sea Kings to get up here. They're really like the only thing, but it's the Sea Kings that are generating the imps. So yeah, I mean, you know, the casters still haven't broken yet. I mean, I think, you know, Elemental Royalty, yeah, really good morale. You know, I mean, this 14 is not fantastic. Probably not taking a lot of morale checks because, you know, I mean, the Jarl's doing a lot of damage, but okay, yeah, there we go. So that's the route. Probably the turn timer, really. So I think, yeah, probably a lot of his stuff is going to be able to get off. And now I think we have no route. So it might have just been a legit route. Because usually it's like the attacker routes first, then the defender routes fairly shortly thereafter when it comes down to the turn timer. And yeah, this Jarl is not routed. He says, you know, bring it on. Send more imps. So yeah, that did not look like it worked out for Helheim. Still, you know, yeah, you gotta hand it to Helheim. Like, even when he loses, he doesn't lose big. But this is a bigger loss than normal for sure, compared to what we've seen before. I mean, Van Herse not too bad, only 120 gold, so 2 losses there. Losing 5 Van Jarls definitely hurts. They're more expensive, but not the end of the world. You know, I mean, he probably has plenty of Van Jarls. You know, just a couple of these Ether Warriors left. That's not too bad. 1 Eagle. Losing 18 Sacreds, I mean, you know, that's close to half of at least what he has present here. You know, not the end of the world, but still, I mean, 18 Sacreds, like, that hurts. You know, they're not cheap. Like, you know, these are, you know, expensive, high-value Sacreds. So to lose 18 of them in one go definitely hurts. And the Trolls, you know, meh, and a couple Valkyries. So, I mean, all things considered, like, yeah, could have been a lot worse. But still, that hurts. On the other hand, I mean, he got everything except 1 Jarl. So, you know, I mean, like, yeah, he can probably walk back in. Maybe he doesn't want to immediately jump in, you know, maybe bring in some thugs. Let's double check, because normally he mixes some thugs in. I wonder if, like, I think one of them might have got popped. Yeah, look at this. So he did. He had 2 thugs here. And these guys definitely, like, yeah, we've seen this kind of setup. We may have seen these exact guys before. And like, yeah, those guys, they could definitely kill Jarls. And I think at least one of them, maybe both of them. Look at that. Yeah. Oh man, that's so unlucky. Just hammered by a boulder right off the get-go. What happens to our other guy? He goes in. Did he get okay, nice. So he dropped Fog Warriors. Wow. So yeah, everybody on his side has misform. So what happened to this guy? So he got hit with a boulder. It popped his glamour. Man, those boulders. And then did he get... He didn't get any cold resistance. And so yeah, he's just gonna freeze against these Rimvetti. And yeah, these were his Jarl killers. So yeah, it's, I mean, unlucky with the boulder, and then, you know, in this case, he just missed his you know, cold resistance, because definitely he was dropping some cold resistance. Yeah, probably shouldn't have sent him in immediately, like maybe just to, you know, he's probably scripting a lot of different battles. It's real easy to, you know, overlook something. So maybe just overlooked, you know, maybe was expecting him to get through the boulder. I mean, right, they don't have to face, they're so fast, they're not going to have to face that many boulders. And you can see the guy that got hit with Fog Warriors, even though he got hit with a boulder, you know, it just reduced the damage down to 1. So yeah, kind of unlucky there for Helheim. But still, you know, cleaned out a ton of Niflheim stuff. And then let's see, we lost tax records, of course. And let's see, yeah, evocation rituals cheaper this month. That's cool. Not really planning on doing any evocation rituals. Probably should try to take more advantage of these. And then yeah, we found a monster boar on our capital finally. Yeah, so that's good. At least our patrollers doing their work. And then we discovered a Marverni scout. So yep, always good to get rid of scouts. and then we lost a scout on Macone. So yeah, although I think he actually managed to successfully retreat. And I think this was just a happy coincidence. I don't normally. You probably could like micro scouts to retreat, because when they get discovered, they technically fight a battle and they have the opportunity to retreat. It's just usually they're deep enough in enemy territory. There's no friendly provinces to retreat to, so they just die in the retreat anyway. So I usually don't bother scripting him to retreat. But this guy just happened to be, on Macone to see what was going on, and we actually have we control a bordering province, and so he was able to escape to it. So that's rare. And it's nice to, hang on to a scout. And then, we breached this fortification for Macone, so we can storm next turn, or this turn. We'll give the orders. And then, our patrollers eliminating some unrest. So, what do we do in this turn? So we are storming. I think that's the main thing. And then once we storm this, and then we have our other Spectre going in to prove to the world that Spectres don't suck as much as the last guy who failed at this province. So hopefully this will go well. We'll see. But once we take these two provinces, that's kind of everything that we were looking for from this war with Macone. Certainly would be nice to pick up the capital, but as I've discussed, kind of want to keep good relations with Hinnom, and honestly, just like a bit of a dick move to try to snipe the capital at this point, after he's expended so much in this war. Certainly you could be more cutthroat, but I don't think I'm going to win this game anyway, so I don't really think it's worth it. And, the thing of it is Macone is clearly like one of the players who's playing him is one of the players that, is going to fight to the bitter end, which, I respect. I like that. I think that's how you should play. Obviously, play however you want. But I expect that this is going to be a tough nut to crack, his capital, and I think he's going to make whoever goes for it pay in blood. So if that's Hinnom's blood, that's good, because there are other dangers out there. Right? Is looking. We have a nap with but they're looking really scary. They're about to finish off this war with Lanka, I think. And we do know that they are fighting with Baratos now. So that's good. They're tied up with that, and that'll hopefully go for a while. But Vanheim is free, and then obviously like Helheim, like who knows? Like they're busy right now, but they're so powerful and so big that you never know when they might decide like, oh no, it's time to like go for a throne rush or something like that. So anyway, like having our forces free will be nice. And they would not be free if we had to go, take this capital. So we're bringing our god back, and I don't actually know why we're doing this. Probably don't feel like we need. We have enough stuff here. We have enough other casters here that it's not really necessary for our god to hang out, and there are probably better things for our god to be doing, because a very high level earth caster, so probably going to be doing some ritual casting. I can't remember offhand what it's going to be, but shouldn't be necessary for the assault, especially with how quickly we crack this fortification. And this is a scrying pool right here. So rituals that are like province specific will usually appear, along with like the province improvements and the sites, and they have like this ritual symbol. And a lot of times they'll have a symbol on the map itself, although it looks like for scrying, actually I think it is you just can't see it behind all the vine ogres. I think you can you can take off like there you go. So if you just hide all the armies, you get this symbol on a province that has like a ritual, like a province specific ritual cast on it. Let's bring our lovely vine ogres back. So anyway, this scrying pool, it's a water spell. There are other scries out there, but it just tells you, information about the province. Pretty similar to a scouting report, but you don't need to scout there. It is nice for fortifications. Probably not strictly necessary, because you should get a decent idea, as you're like moving in and attacking. Once you're sat on top of it, you don't actually get any reports about what's in the fort anymore. So, you do have to remember or look at a previous turn or whatever. However, you never know when, somebody's going to be doing some summoning or maybe like teleporting, more units in. So, definitely like scrying on a fort, before you assault is just going to, give you maximum information. But we can see that this is basically empty. He does have this, death mage who shadow blasted the ever-loving crap out of us. So probably more shadow blasts, but he doesn't really have a lot of support, so we should be able to take this pretty easily. So yeah, we don't need our god present for that. And then we are building a palisades. Yeah, started a palisades here. Doing a little site searching. This guy is just here to give weapons of sharpness to our gargoyles in case somebody comes to tangle with us. But he might as well search while he's here. And then yeah, just having this force hang out and cover this fort construction. Not expecting anything, but it's not impossible. Like Lanka just starts rampaging, and we may have to defend this. And yeah, there is a little misfortune here. So you never know when they're gonna go after your fort, those barbarians. Otherwise, things are relatively quiet. There are interesting things out there, right? So there's a couple of sieges we can see, and like this has been cracked. And I think, yeah, there's another like siege down here. So there's definitely stuff going on, trying to like catch as much of it as we can with our scouts. So yeah, next turn we might see like a couple battles, I think. Certainly like, yeah, anytime there's a cracked fortification, probably something's going down. Not necessarily, but probably. So yeah, hopefully catch some battles next turn in that ongoing war, and then kind of have to decide like what we're gonna do next. This is definitely looking back and forth. Helheim is probably still in the best position, although it does look like some inroads have been made against them, and fighting against a 3v1 is really tough. So yeah, certainly if they start to lose, grabbing like Niflheim and hopefully this throne would be a good play, I think. But maybe don't want to throw in too soon, right? Because Marvernia is very powerful, like Yomi is very powerful. I'm not too sure how strong Pangea is, but becoming the fourth person, right, in this war might be a bad idea, because if these guys overrun it really quickly, and we're probably not going to grab too much off of Helheim anyway, so we're not going to get that much more powerful. So I'm still undecided if I want to jump in on this. But that said, yeah, never count Helheim out. I'd say they've looked really scary, like this whole game. So, if anybody can survive a 3v1, at least in this game, so far from what I've seen, it's probably them. So, yeah. And then, of course, Vanheim, like, we still don't know what they're up to. They don't appear to be in any wars. We have a big border with them. We could certainly attack. I don't know. I don't know what that matchup is like. I don't think we're really ready for Wrathful Skies too much yet, so probably don't want to jump in on them immediately, but yeah, sort of just weighing options, kind of seeing where things are at. We're kind of in that, now that we've finished with Macone, we're in sort of an in-between stage. We are starting to build up not a lot of wyverns, yeah, just 4. So that's going to take a while in terms of that as our answer to Wrathful Skies. So yeah, we're not even close really to ready, although we are getting our other air guy who can, or air random in that can summon wyverns, so we're going to be summoning twice as many 4 wyverns a turn instead of 2. So yeah, still going to be slow going. So yeah, still weighing our options, finishing off this war. Never count Macone out. That's turn 67.